Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most game-changing books on self-improvement out there, Atomic Habits by James Clear. We're going to unpack a super simple but incredibly powerful framework for making tiny changes that, believe me, lead to some seriously remarkable results. Let's get right into it.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll look at the surprising math behind getting just 1% better. Then we're going to shift our thinking away from what we want to achieve and toward who we want to become. After that, we get the toolkit, the 4 laws for building any habit you want. And finally, we'll cover 2 super simple strategies you can literally start using the second this is over.
You know the feeling, right? We set these massive goals. I'm going to get into the best shape of my life, write a novel, finally launch that business. We want that huge, radical change, that overnight success story. But if we're being honest, it usually doesn't work out. It turns out the secret isn't about the size of our goals, it's actually all about the size of our daily actions.
And that brings us to the absolute core idea of atomic habits, the mind-blowing power of these tiny 1% improvements. I know, it doesn't sound like much, but when you look at the math, well, the story changes completely.
So what happens if you actually improve by just 1% every single day? You probably wouldn't even notice it from one day to the next, but those tiny, little gains, they compound. And if you get just 1% better each day for a whole year, you will end up an incredible 37 times better than when you started. That's not just growth, that's compounding in action.
But you've got to remember, this is a double-edged sword. Getting 1% better every day puts you on this amazing upward curve of growth. But getting 1% worse, well, that creates a downward spiral that grinds you down almost all the way to zero. So every single day, our small choices are literally shaping who we're becoming, for better or for worse. So here's the big takeaway from all this. Stop stressing so much about where you are right now. The number on the scale, the amount of money in your bank account. Instead, shift your focus to your trajectory. Are your daily habits pointing you in the right direction? If they are, then success really is just a matter of time. And this idea of focusing on your trajectory, it leads to this really powerful shift in your mindset. See, the goal isn't just to achieve an outcome, like, say, running a marathon. The real goal is to become a runner. And that right there is the fundamental difference between outcome-based habits and identity-based habits. In this quote from the book, it just nails it. Every time you lace up your sneakers and go for a run, you're not just getting some exercise, you are casting a vote for the identity of I am a runner. A single workout won't transform your body, of course not, but each one builds up this body of evidence for your new identity. Just think about the language here for a sec. On the left, someone says they're trying not to smoke. What does that imply? It implies struggle, and it actually reinforces their old identity as a smoker who's fighting an urge. But the person on the right, they just state a fact. I'm not a smoker. The identity is already shifted, which makes the choice almost effortless. Okay, so how do we actually build that new identity? It all comes down to mastering the art of just showing up. The goal at first isn't to be perfect, it's just to be consistent. You have to establish the habit first, make it the new standard in your life before you can even think about optimizing it or making it better. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now let's get into the really practical stuff, the step-by-step framework that makes all of this happen. James Clear calls them the 4 laws of behavior change. Think of these as the 4 levers you can pull to basically engineer your own behavior. To build a good habit, you have to make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. And guess what? To break a bad habit, you just flip them. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple, right? All right, law number 1 is all about the cue, the little trigger that kicks off the habit. If you want to go for a run in the morning, don't bury your running shoes in the closet. Put them right next to your bed. You want to make the cue for your new good habit literally impossible to miss. Next up, Law 2. This one targets the craving part of the habit loop. Look, if you hate your workouts, you're just not going to stick with them. So you've got to find a way to make it fun. Or, even better, join a group or a community where the thing you want to do is the normal, everyday behavior. When you want to fit in, that habit suddenly becomes way more attractive. Law number 3 is all about the action itself. The easier you make a habit, the more likely you are to actually do it. Our brains are basically wired to follow the path of least resistance, so you need to reduce the friction. Lower the number of steps between you and that good habit. Make it as ridiculously convenient as you possibly can. And finally, we have law number 4. Make it satisfying. This is about the reward. Our brains are hardwired to repeat any behavior that has a satisfying ending. But here's the catch, right? The real rewards of good habits, like getting fit or learning a skill, are often delayed for weeks or months. So, you have to find a way to give yourself an immediate reward, to feel successful right away, to close that loop and tell your brain, hey, do that again.
So that's the whole framework. Now let's look at two incredibly simple and practical strategies you can use to put these laws into action, like today.
Okay, first up, we've got something called habit stacking. This is a total game changer. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. You just find a habit you already do every single day without thinking, like making your morning coffee, and you use that as the trigger for a new habit you want to build. It gives your new habit a specific time and place to live in your routine.
And the formula for this? It could not be simpler. It's just, after my current habit, I will do my new habit. For example, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. You're literally piggybacking the new habit onto the momentum of one that's already established. It's so effective.
And next up, maybe my favorite one, the 2-minute rule. This is the ultimate way to make it easy. You just take whatever habit you want to start and you scale it down until it takes 2 minutes or less to do. So, read 30 books a year becomes read 1 page. Do yoga 4 days a week becomes roll out my yoga mat. The point isn't to get results, it's to master the art of showing up.
And this final quote, man, it just ties everything together perfectly. See, a goal is just the results you want. A system is the collection of daily habits that will actually get you there. And when your goal is up here, but your system is down here, the system always wins. Your current habits are perfectly designed to give you your current results. So I want to leave you with this one question. Just for a moment, forget about the massive, life-altering transformation. What is one tiny 2-minute action you can take today? What small vote can you cast for the person you want to become? Because that one little vote, compounded day after day, that's what changes everything.